Hi, in today's video, let's discuss about negligence. Negligence in general sense means mere carelessness. In legal usage, it signifies failure to exercise the standard of care which a doer as a reasonable man should, by law, have exercised in the circumstances. It is a legal duty to take care where it is reasonably foreseeable that a failure to do so is likely to cause an injury. Negligence has two meanings in law of torts. First, negligence as a mode of committing torts. For example, negligently or carelessly committing trespass, nuisance, or defamation. Here it is more of a mental element. In the second case, negligence is considered as a separate tort. It is a conduct which creates a risk of damage rather than state of mind. It is actionable when the defendant owes a duty of care to the plaintiff but fails to perform the duty of care, due to which the plaintiff suffers an injury. There are three essentials that constitute negligence. First, the defendant owed a duty of care to the plaintiff. Second, the defendant made a breach of that duty. Third, the plaintiff suffered damage as a consequence. Let's understand all the three essentials in detail. Duty of care to the plaintiff. It means a legal duty rather than a mere moral, religious, or social duty. The plaintiff has to establish that the defendant owed him a specific legal duty of which he has made a breach, and only then will the defendant be liable. Now, duty depends on foreseeability of the injury. Whether the defendant owes a duty to the plaintiff or not depends on reasonable foreseeability of the injury to the plaintiff. If, at the time of the act or the omission, the defendant could reasonably foresee the injury to the plaintiff, he owes a duty to prevent the injury, and a failure to do so makes him liable. Let's understand this with the help of a case, Ishwar Devi versus Union of India. In this case, the deceased had boarded a DTU bus. The bus arrived at the bus stop, and just when the deceased had placed his foot on the footboard of the bus, the conductor signaled the driver to start the bus. The driver tried to overtake another stationary bus so closely that the deceased got squeezed between the two buses, sustained many injuries, which finally led to his death. This is a clear case of negligence, as the conductor and the driver could easily foresee what would be the outcome of their action. They were rash and negligent and did not take care of the person who is boarding the bus. The court held that the conductor and the driver are equally liable. There is no liability when the injury is not foreseeable. In Dr. M. Mai Gowda versus State of Karnataka, the complainant took an elephant joyride in the Mysore Dasera exhibition ground after having purchased the tickets for the same. After taking many rounds, while the complainant and the others were in the process of getting down the cradle, the elephant got panicky in that rush hour and ran forward. As a consequence, the complainant suffered many injuries and lost his eyesight for both the eyes. The complainant claimed for compensation. It was found that the elephant participated in many such events for the last 13 years. It had acted in film shootings, religious functions, and honoring VIPs. It was held that there was no negligence of the opposite party who organized the joyride. The reason for the accident was unusual and unfortunate behavior of the elephant. The complaint was thereby dismissed. Let's discuss the second point, breach of duty. Breach of duty means non-observance of due care which is required in a particular situation. Now, what is the standard of care required? The standard is that of a particular reasonable man or an ordinarily prudent man. If the defendant has acted like a reasonably prudent man, there is no negligence. The law requires taking the following points into consideration to determine the standard of care that is required. Firstly, the importance of the object to be attained. The law does not require greatest possible care, but the care that is required is of a reasonable man under certain circumstances. The law permits taking chance of some measure of risks so that the public interests of various activities should go on. For example, if all the trains of our nation would be restricted to 5 miles per hour, then there would be fewer accidents, but the national life would be intolerably slowed down. A balance has to be drawn between the importance and the usefulness of an act and the risk created thereby. Second point, the magnitude of the risk. As I just mentioned, the law does not demand the same amount of care all the time. It depends from situation to situation. Third point, the amount of consideration for which services are offered. The degree of care depends on the kind of services offered by the defendant and the consideration charged therefore from the plaintiff. For instance, if a patient is admitted to a luxury hospital, say for rupees 6,000 to 10,000 per day, he would be justified to demand a higher sophisticated degree of care, comfort, convenience, and recovery than mere sterilization from infection, as that could be expected in a general ward hospital. Coming to the last point, damage. It is necessary that the defendant's breach of duty causes damage to the plaintiff. As a general rule, it is for the plaintiff to prove that the defendant was negligent. The burden of proof lies on the plaintiff to prove that the defendant was negligent, and once he proves it, then it is for the defendant to prove that the incident was either the result of inevitable accident or contributory negligence on the part of the plaintiff. Now, to summarize the three essentials, the first one was the defendant should owe a duty of care to the plaintiff. The defendant made a breach of duty, and as a result, it caused damages. To understand all these three essentials, let's discuss one final and very important case in negligence, that is Donoghue versus Stevenson. Let's discuss the facts of the case. On August 26, 1928, Donoghue and her friend were at a cafe in Scotland. Donoghue's friend had ordered and paid for her beer. The cafe had purchased this beer from the manufacturer, Stevenson. The ginger beer came in a dark bottle and the contents of the beer were not visible from outside. Donoghue drank some of the contents and her friend lifted the bottle to pour the remainder of the ginger beer into the tumbler. The remains of a snail in a state of decomposition dropped out of the bottle into the tumbler. As a consequence of drinking the contaminated beer, Donoghue suffered severely in her health and claimed compensation from Stevenson. Stevenson was held liable as he, as a manufacturer, owed her a duty of care to provide her a bottle without any poisonous matter, and he had committed a breach of this duty and hence he was liable. I hope you understood from this video the concept of negligence. Thank you.